In most American pantries, you'll find a graveyard of expired cans, half-empty cereal boxes, and a jar of something crystallized that you cannot even remember buying in the first place. Come January, you're going to be needing something for a dish, and most of the prices will have doubled by then. Miss this window, and you're going to have to shop at winter prices. Whether that's flour for pancakes, an onion for a pot of soup, or a can of tomatoes for chili. Right now, late August into September is the 6W WEEKEC window every year, where prices sit at their annual bottom before the fall climb starts. And every single item on this list is cheaper this month than it will be by December. So today, I've got 18 foods for you that you must stockpile before fall prices hit. And if you do even half of what is on this list, you will save well over $400 between now and March. The first one we'll go through is one you must absolutely stock up on. Number 4 is one the baking aisle overcharges you for every November. And the last item on the list is a store clearance trick that only happens once a year in September. And if you miss it, you are stuck paying full retail until next fall. Number 18 is butter. Butter freezes perfectly, wrapper and all, and comes out months later exactly the way it went in. Most people either have no idea you can do this or they suspect it and never actually get into the habit. Butter is one of those items that climbs going into the holidays when every kitchen in America starts baking at once. Right now in August and September, you can find butter on sale for about $3 a pound if you watch the flyers. But by Thanksgiving week, that same pound is running $6 and change. And by mid-December, the dairy case is picked clean. If you buy 8 sticks now at the sale price and toss them straight in the freezer, you have already saved yourself $24 on a single grocery item, and you have your Thanksgiving baking supply locked in at August prices. Your grandmother knew this trick and did not think twice about it because she had a shelf in the deep freeze reserved for exactly this purpose. All you do is buy the sticks in the wrapper, drop them straight into the freezer, and pull them out about a week before you need them. And the next item is one where the price nearly doubles between now and January, which makes stocking up right now one of the smartest moves in the entire canned food aisle. Number 17 is canned tomatoes, meaning whole peeled, crushed, diced, and tomato sauce. And August through September is the peak season sale window on all of them. This is when the American tomato harvest hits its peak. Canneries are running full production, and stores are competing with home canners for shopping dollars, which drives the price to the floor. Right now, you can find name brand cans of whole peeled tomatoes on sale for about $79 each. And by January, that same can is running $1.79 as chili and soup and stew season peaks and the sales dry up completely. If you buy 24 cans now on sale, you have saved about $24 against January prices. And you have the foundation of about 30 winter meals sitting on your shelf. Canned tomatoes keep for 18 months to 2 years in the pantry without any drop in quality, so there is no rush to use them. What you want to stock is a mix, meaning a case of whole peeled for sauces and long simmered dishes, a case of diced for chili and soups, and a couple of 6-acts of tomato paste for anywhere you need concentrated flavor. Winter cooking runs on tomatoes in America, and paying January prices for something you use in almost every cold weather meal is one of the biggest quiet drains on a grocery budget. And the next item is the pantry staple, where the bag on the shelf right now is fresher and cheaper than the same bag will be by spring because the new harvest just came in. Number 16 is dried beans. And the part almost nobody knows is that beans are a harvest crop. And the new crop hits American grocery shelves in September and October, right after the fall harvest comes in. That means the bags of pinto, navy, black kidney, and great northern beans on the shelf right now are the freshest they will be all year. And they are also priced at thence like in low because the harvest supply is peaking. A 1-pound bag of dried pinto beans runs about $160 right now. And by spring, that same bag is running $2.40. Buy 10 pounds of assorted beans now, and you have saved about $8 against spring prices, and you have the base for about 40 meals on your shelf. The freshness matters more than most people realize because beans that have been sitting in a warehouse for a year take longer to cook and never really soften up the way new crop beans do. If you have ever cooked a pot of beans that stay chalky no matter how long you simmer them, that is why. A pound of dried beans makes about 6 cups cooked, which is roughly 3 cans worth for less than the price of 1 can. So the savings compound every single time you cook them. Store them in a jar with a tight lid and they keep for 2 to 3 years easy. A pot of beans and a pan of cornbread will feed a family for about $2, and that math has not changed in my lifetime. Dried beans are one of the best examples of how a single cheap ingredient can stretch into meal after meal in a working pantry. And if you want to know how my family cut hundreds of dollars from our grocery bill every month and keep our pantry organized where no food ever goes to waste the same way my grandma has been doing it for years, I have pulled all of it together into my book called The Complete Japanese Kitchen Handbook. You can find the book over at Frugal Japan. Shop by scanning the QR code on the screen or clicking the link in the description below for instant access. Now back to the list. And the next item is the vegetable that farm stands are almost giving away right now because the harvest came in all at once and they cannot move it fast enough. Number 15 is winter squash, which covers butternut, acorn, Hubbard, delicata, and the whole family of hard-skinned squashes that come in at the end of summer. Farm stands are absolutely buried in them right now, and they're pricing them at about $1 a piece to move them out before the frost hits. By February, those same squashes at the grocery store are running $3 to $4 each. So if you buy 10 now, you are saving $30 against winter prices. What makes winter squash a perfect stockpile item is that it needs absolutely no processing, meaning no canning, no freezing, no equipment, no jars. You just bring them home and set them on a shelf in a cool room, and they hold for 3 to 4 months on their own. There are 3 specific rules to make that happen, and if you follow them, you will still be eating September squash in January. First, pick the ones that still have the stem attached, because that stem is what seals the top and keeps rot from getting in. Second, do not wash them, because there is a natural coating on the skin that helps them keep, and washing takes it off. Third, do not let them touch each other on the shelf, because if one starts to go, it will take its neighbors down with it fast. Line them up with a little space between, and you have vegetable insurance for the whole winter for about $10. And the next item is the root vegetable, where the price triples between now and March, and nobody notices because nobody looks at their price in winter. Number 14 is sweet potatoes, and the swing on these is one of the sharpest in the whole grocery store. In October, when the southern harvest is coming in, sweet potatoes are running about 49 cents a pound at grocery stores across the country. By March, that same sweet potato is running $149 a pound, which is a straight tripling of the price for the same vegetable. If you buy 20 pounds now, you are paying about $10 for what will cost you $30 in March. And that is a savings of $20 on a vegetable your family probably already eats. Storage is simple and follows the same rules as regular potatoes, meaning cool, dark, dry, with air moving around them. And you can expect 2 to 3 months out of them without any trouble. The one warning that most people get wrong is that you never want to refrigerate sweet potatoes, because cold turns the starch to sugar and ruins the texture, so they end up mushy and off-tasting after a week or two. In sweet potato country, meaning across the South from Georgia through Louisiana, October is when everybody digs and everybody puts up, and 100 pounds cures on the porch and lasts a family through February. You do not need 100 pounds, but 20 pounds is nothing to store, and it will genuinely change what you are eating for lunch through the winter. And the next item is actually 2 items, because they are the 2 most important fall storage crops in the entire American pantry. And the price swing between the 50-pound sack now and the small bag in winter is the biggest markup in the produce section. Number 13 is potatoes and onions together in the big sacks, because they are the same play with the same math and the same one critical rule. Right now, farm stands and even regular grocery stores are selling 50-pound sacks of potatoes for about $12 and big bags of onions at similar per-pound prices. All winter, buying those same potatoes 3 pounds at a time in a little plastic bag will run you about $50 for the equivalent 50 pounds. That is a savings of $38 on potatoes alone. And onions run about the same math. This is harvest glut, and it does not last past October in most parts of the country. Storage is straightforward but specific. You want cool, dark, dry, and some air movement. A basement corner works. An unheated closet works. The garage works if it does not freeze. And the refrigerator absolutely does not work for either one. The one rule that decides everything is that you never store potatoes and onions in the same spot. Onions give off a gas that makes potatoes sprout faster. So if you put them in the same bin, you are cutting your potato storage life in half without even knowing it. Opposite corners of the room is the fix. And if you do that, you will still be eating September potatoes in February. And the next item is the fall harvest vegetable that runs about a third of what it will cost you at the grocery store come March. Number 12 is cabbage. And cabbage is one of the great forgotten fall storage crops in America. In October, when the local harvest is peaking, a whole head of green cabbage is running about 79 cents at the grocery store. And by March, that same head is running $249. If you buy 10 heads now, you have a whole winter of cabbage for about $8 versus about $25 come March. Storage is easy, and whole heads keep 2 to 3 months in a cool spot when you wrap them loose in paper or a cotton cloth. The upgrade that makes cabbage really pay is that a $2 head plus about $1 of salt turns into a gallon of homemade sauerkraut that keeps 6 months in the refrigerator. That is the cheapest probiotic on earth, and it beats anything you can buy in the yogurt aisle by a mile. Before there was a probiotic section at the grocery store, there was a crock of sauerkraut in every farmhouse basement in the country. And the reason was simple. It was cheap, it lasted forever, and it kept the family healthy through a long winter. And the next item is where the local fall harvest and the grocery store winter price are literally two completely different products, and the difference is night and day. Number 11 is garlic, and specifically hard neck garlic in a braid from a farmer's market or a farm stand, because the garlic you buy at the grocery store in January is a completely different product. That mesh bag of garlic on the grocery shelf in the middle of winter came from China, and it has been sitting in a shipping container for weeks, and it does not really taste like garlic. Real hard-neck garlic, the kind farmers braid and hang up in October, tastes like something you have never actually had unless you have grown it yourself or bought it from someone who did. A braid of 10 heads at the farmer's market runs about $8 right now, and a bulb of the Chinese garlic at the grocery store in February runs about $1.50 each. So your winter supply of grocery store garlic runs somewhere around $15 for the same quantity of a much worse product. Storage is nothing at all. You hang the braid in the kitchen, and it keeps for 3 to 6 months, and you snap off a head whenever you need one. You will know the difference in the first meal you cook with it. And after that first meal, it becomes very hard to go back to the mesh bag. And the next item is the fall root harvest, where the price per pound drops to almost nothing right now and climbs back up steadily through spring. Number 10 is carrots, and specifically the big storage bags from farm stands, or the 25-pound sacks from wholesale clubs, because carrots are a fall harvest crop, and this is when they are cheapest all year. Right now, a 10 pounds bag of carrots from a farm stand runs about $6. And by March, buying the same 10 pounds one bag at a time from the grocery store runs about $18. That is a savings of $12. And if you buy 25 pounds instead of 10, the savings climb well past 30. Storage is where carrots really pay off, because they hold for 4 to 6 months when you do it right. The old method that still works better than anything modern is to bury them in damp sand or damp sawdust in a cool basement or garage, and they will still be crisp in April. The easier modern method is to trim the green tops off, wash them and store them in a plastic bag with a damp paper towel in the crisper drawer where they keep for 2 to 3 months. Carrots go in every soup, every stew, every roast, every pot of beans, and every lunchbox. And having a real supply in the house for pennies per pound changes how you cook through the winter. And the next item is the shelf staple that literally doubles in price on the 2nd of January, the moment every American kitchen forgets that pumpkin exists. Number 9 is canned pumpkin, and the pricing story on canned pumpkin is one of the sneakiest doublings in the entire grocery store. Right now through November, canned pumpkin is running about $1.29.29 a can, because every store in America is competing hard on pumpkin bread and pumpkin pie season and running it in the weekly flyer. On or around the 2nd of January, that same can jumps to about $2.79, and it stays there until next October. Nobody notices because nobody is buying pumpkin in January. But the moment you want to bake anything pumpkin flavored in spring or summer, that is what you are paying. If you buy 12 cans of canned pumpkin now at the fall sale price, you have saved about $18 against next year's off-season prices, and you have pumpkin bread on demand through the following summer. Canned pumpkin keeps for 2 years unopened, so there is no rush to use it, and it works for pancakes, muffins, soup, and even mixed into oatmeal for breakfast. Your grandmother roasted the pumpkin herself and froze the puree in 1-cup jars, which is essentially what a can of Libby's actually is anyway. So buying it canned at the fall price is just paying somebody else a very small amount of money to do the roasting for you. And the same store, the same aisle is doing the exact same double pricing game with the item right next to it. Number 8 is cane sugar in the big 25 pounds bag. And this is one of the sneakiest markups in the whole grocery store because most people never think about the price of sugar. Right now in September, a 25 petabytes bag of plain white cane sugar is running about $15 at most grocery stores. By the middle of December, that same bag is running $24 because every kitchen in America is baking cookies, pies, and holiday breads at the same time. That is a savings of $9 on a single bag that will last most families a full year. Sugar has an indefinite shelf life when you store it in a sealed container away from moisture, and it never really goes bad. You use it for baking, for canning, for jam, for coffee, for tea, and for homemade tonics, and one big bag covers all of that easily. The store knows exactly when Christmas baking season starts, and they price the sugar accordingly. So beating them means buying now and skipping the whole December pricing game. And the same aisle is doing the same thing with the item sitting right next to the sugar. Number 7 is bulk flour, both all-purpose and whole wheat. And the fall pricing swing on flour follows the exact same pattern as the sugar. In September, a 25 pounds bag of all-purpose flour is running about $12. And by late November, that same bag is running $18 as the holiday baking rush hits. Buy 2 now and you have saved $12 against November prices, and you have flour for baking biscuits and pancakes through spring. The storage rule that most people get wrong is that all-purpose flour is fine in a sealed food-grade bucket at room temperature for a full year, but whole wheat flour has to go in the freezer because the germ oils in whole wheat go rancid within a few months at room temperature. If you have ever opened a bag of whole wheat that smelled a little off, that is why. The other thing you want to do the day you bring it home is transfer it into a sealed container, because pantry moths will find an open bag of flour within a week and ruin the whole thing. Learn that the easy way, not the way I did. All right, we're at the halfway mark, and I want to stop for a second because if you have been keeping a running total, you are already sitting at over $200 in savings from the first 11 items alone. But here's the part almost nobody talks about, and it is the reason the second half of this list matters even more than the first. A lot of you watching are probably thinking that you have seen frugal videos before and that this is going to turn into another generic list of obvious pantry staples. Stay with me. The second half is where this list stops being about produce and starts being about something else entirely. The whole point of this exercise is not survival food, and it is not hoarding, and it is not prepping. It is one simple observation, which is that the store has a calendar, and that calendar is designed to charge you the most exactly when you need things the most. Every single item on this list is a purchase you get to make on your own calendar instead of theirs. And there is a name for what we are doing. Farmers used to call it putting up. And the number one item on this list is not even a food. It is the clearance trick that unlocks the whole system for pennies on the dollar. The next 6 items are where the real money is, because we are moving from the fall harvest into the fall sale flyer window, which covers the shelf items the store is running at their lowest prices of the year right now and will jump on come January. Let us keep going. Number 6 is coffee, and coffee has one of the most predictable fall sale windows in the entire grocery store. Between September and Thanksgiving, name brand coffee rotates through the weekly sale flyer at about $6 for a 12 ounces bag, because stores are competing hard for holiday hosting and holiday gifting dollars. Come mid-January, that same bag is running $9 to $10, and the sales completely dry up until next fall. If you buy 8 bags now on sale, you are saving about $30 against January prices, and you have coffee for the whole winter. Storage on coffee is the piece most people get wrong, because coffee genuinely does go stale on the shelf. The fix is that whole bean coffee stored in the freezer in the original sealed bag keeps for a full year without any loss of flavor, and ground coffee keeps for about 6 months the same way. You pull a bag out of the freezer a day before you need it, and it thaws to room temperature by morning. Whole bean lasts longer than ground because the oils are protected inside the bean. So if you have a grinder at home, that is the way to go. Coffee is one of those grocery items that always feels expensive in January. And the reason is that it always is. And the next item is the fall harvest crop, where the price gap between buying now and buying at Christmas is the biggest single per pound difference on this entire list. Number 5 is pecans in the shell. And if you have never bought pecans from a southern farmer in October, you have no idea how much the grocery store has been overcharging you for a shell bag. Right now at farmers markets across pecan country, meaning Georgia, Texas, Louisiana, and Alabama, you can buy pecans in the shell for about $3 a pound direct from the grower. Those same pecans shelled and packaged in a plastic bag at the grocery store in December run about $12 a pound. If you buy 10 pounds in the shell now, you have paid $30 for what would cost you $120 shelled at Christmas, and that is a savings of $90 for the price of an hour of shelling. The trade-off is real, because cracking 10 pounds of pecans takes about 20 minutes on a Sunday afternoon with a nutcracker and a bowl in front of the television. But that is essentially paying yourself $9 a pound for your time, which is a rate most of us would take in a heartbeat. Storage is easy because pecans in the shell keep for a full year at room temperature in a sealed bag or bucket. And shelled pecans go into the freezer where they hold for a year or more. In pecan country, October is when the trees drop and everybody gathers, and a 5-gallon bucket costs almost nothing at the source and comes with a good story. And the next item is the one I teased at the beginning, which is the aisle that steals from every American holiday baker every single November. Number 4 is baking spices. And this is the one where the price differences are almost unbelievable when you actually look at them. Come November, you will find yourself standing in the baking aisle holding a little glass jar of ground cinnamon. And that little jar will cost you $6 for about 2 ounces. That is one of the biggest markups in the entire grocery store. And what you are paying for is the jar and the brand name, not the cinnamon inside. Walk to the bulk bin section of the same store, or go to a discount grocery, or go to a food co-op with an actual bulk aisle, and the same cinnamon runs about 75 cents an ounce. Your whole winter supply of cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, ginger, and allspice from the bulk bin runs about $8 versus about $50 if you buy the little jars. And that is a savings of $42 on a shopping trip that takes 10 minutes. What you do is bring your own jars from home, meaning empty spice jars, from previous years or small mason jars, and fill them from the bulk bins with a measuring scoop. One honest caution is that ground spices do not spoil, but they do fade over time. So that jar of nutmeg from 3 Christmases ago is not dangerous. It is just not doing very much anymore. Buy fresh, buy cheap, buy now, and use it this year. And the next item is the shelf staple that the sale flyer rotates through heavily right now and disappears from the flyer completely after New Year's. Number 3 is peanut butter. And if you pay any attention at all to the weekly sale flyers between September and November, you will see peanut butter appearing over and over again at prices you will not see the rest of the year. Right now, a name brand jar of peanut butter on sale is running about $249. And by mid-January, that same jar is running $4.99. If you buy 8 jars now on sale, you have saved $20 against the January price, and you have peanut butter for lunches, cookies, sauces, and snacks for the next several months. The reason peanut butter is a fall sale item is that it is a Thanksgiving and Christmas baking staple, so stores compete hard on the price to get you in the door. And after New Year's, the deals disappear because the baking rush is over. Storage is nothing at all because a sealed jar of peanut butter keeps for a full 2 years without any drop in quality. Every farmhouse pantry in the country used to have at least 2 jars of peanut butter on the shelf because it was cheap protein when the meat ran tight, and it still is. And the next item is the breakfast meat that climbs $3 a pound between right now and Christmas, and the sales dry up completely once December hits. Number 2 is bacon, and the fall sales window on bacon is one of the best kept secrets in the American grocery calendar. Between September and Thanksgiving, bacon rotates through the sale flyer at about $3.99 a pound, sometimes lower. Come December, when the store shifts its meat pricing toward Christmas hams and roasts, bacon regular prices climb to about $6.99 a pound, and the sales dry up until February. If you buy 6 pounds of bacon on sale now and freeze it in the original packaging, you have saved $18 against December prices, and you have bacon for breakfast for green beans for a pot of beans, and for a bacon and tomato sandwich on the coldest Saturday of the year. Storage is simple because bacon freezes for a full 6 months in the original wrap without any drop in quality, and you can pull out a pound at a time as you need it. Some things on this list are about pure math, And some things are about knowing that you have real bacon in the freezer when the snow is coming down. And that second thing matters more than people admit. And the next item is the pantry staple, where the harvest is happening this very month, and it will never be cheaper than it is right now. The one right before number one is local honey. And the honey harvest is happening across the country right now, which means beekeepers and farm stands have more honey on hand this month than any other time of the year. If you buy the quart of the half-gallon size directly from a beekeeper at a farmer's market right now, you are looking at about $18 a quart. Buy that same quantity of grocery store honey in those little plastic bears in February, and you are looking at about $32 for the equivalent volume, and you are getting a completely different and much lower quality product. Real honey does not spoil. And I mean that literally, because archaeologists have opened jars of honey from Egyptian tombs that were 3,000 years old and found the honey still perfectly edible. It will crystallize on you. And when it does, that is not spoilage. That is honey doing what honey does. You set the jar in a bowl of warm water, and within about 20 minutes, it comes right back to liquid. What you do with it is everything. Because honey is a sweetener for coffee and tea, a base for a sore throat remedy in the middle of winter, an ingredient for baking, a topping for biscuits, and a gift jar for the neighbors at Christmas, buy the big jar from someone local while the harvest is on, and it will still be perfect 5 years from now. Though at my house, it never actually makes it 5 months. And now we come to number one, which is not a food at all. It is the clearance trick I told you about at the beginning, the one with an actual date attached to it. And if you miss the date, you miss the deal until next year. Number one is the September canning supply clearance. And the way it works is simple. Stores stock canning supplies, meaning jars, lids, rings, and pectin for the summer canning season that runs from June through August. Somewhere around and just after Labor Day, the store managers decide that canning season is over and they need that shelf space for Halloween candy. So the whole canning section goes on clearance, and half off is common. I have personally bought cases of brand new ball jars for less than what the lids alone cost at full price 2 weeks earlier. A case of 12 Q jars that runs $16 at full price hits the clearance rack at about $8. And if you buy 4 cases, you have saved $32 on a purchase that will last you the rest of your life, because jars, rings, and lids never actually expire. The joke, and this is the part that matters, is that canning season is not over in September. Not even close. September and October are the biggest canning months of the year for applesauce, apple butter, tomatoes, pears, and pickles. The store's calendar and the actual harvest calendar do not match up at all. And that gap right there is where you save. Even if you never can a single thing in your life, those jars are the best dry goods storage that money can buy. And at clearance prices, they are cheaper than plastic containers. Put your beans in them, put your rice in them, put your spices in them, and they last twice as long as they would in the bag they came in. If you did every single thing on this list between now and the end of October, you would spend maybe $200 this month and save over $400 between now and March. And that is real money for what amounts to one good Saturday of shopping. The best way to start is small, because trying to buy everything in one trip is the fastest way to give up by Friday. This week, walk into the clearance aisle of whatever store you are already in and grab a case of canning jars, and then buy 8 sticks of butter on sale and put them straight in the freezer. That is the start of a working pantry, and once you do it once, the rest falls into place naturally. Before you go, I have got to ask you this, because every state is different. What is the one thing you stock up on every single fall? I genuinely want to know what it was, because honestly, half of my best ideas end up coming straight from you guys down in the comments. Next time around, I'm going to show you exactly how I turned 20 pounds of fall potatoes into a full month of meals with almost no effort at all. And it is the one trick that made me stop buying frozen sides at the grocery store completely. Until then, buy it cheap, put it up, and stop paying the January price, and click the video showing up on your screen right now.